ourselves in Beavers Dams, New York, with Brian Doolittle. And Brian, how's your winter been?
It's been pretty slow and quiet so far. We've just started getting things around for the race season coming up. Not a whole lot of action in the shop yet, but we're about to get started with that.
I was gonna say, I think you've raced at Woodhall for how long? I know at least since I've been going.
Yeah, so I've been racing at Woodhull since 2009, full-time every Saturday, haven't missed a race. But my racing career goes back to 2002, where I started at the time Black Rock Speedway in the Pro Truck division for 2 years. Had some pretty good success there, and moved up into the Super Stock class before they became late models in the 2006 season. And then that was 1 year, got Rookie of the Year, had a great season. The ride fell apart. That was the only year I drove a car for somebody else. And then 07 on, it's been in the modified. 07, 08, I ran Friday nights with the modified, and then my father ran the same car Saturday nights at Woodhall. So he got out of it, and then in 09, since I've been racing Woodhall myself.
And so you got a little bit of experience then with the full fender. I didn't really know that, I guess.
Yeah. Actually 3 seasons, 2 in the truck, 1 in the super stock. It was great, it was a lot of fun, but the moment I climbed into a modified, the first laps I did, I said this just feels so much more natural. The speed was more fun, the power to weight ratio is just so much more fun.
So that's not something you could ever see yourself going back to, or?
I would there's certain things I would like to try. I'd like to try a late model, and I'd also like to have the opportunity at some point to drive one of these long distance street stock races. I think those are really cool. I've always liked watching those at Outlaw or at Woodhall 100, but it's about the right opportunity. I'm not going to go out and get my own car because I'm into the open wheel thing right now, and I don't see that changing anytime, but I'd definitely be open to trying it. I know I could fit right back into it.
Right, so if somebody's got a ride open for the Woodhall 100 this year.
I'd love to, yeah.
So a little thing, you touched on your dad a little bit, and I know the cost of these things just keeps going up, and kind of one thing that I know separates kind of you guys is your dad being an engine builder, and why don't you just talk a little bit about that and how?
Yeah, well, he's been in racing since the 70s. He did it himself all the way up to, like I said, until about 2008, and a little bit since then, but he's always been around it. He's always built his own cars in the 4-cylinder modifieds, always done his own motors, so having him as a motor builder has been a huge advantage to allow me to do this. We put the money in the parts as opposed to the labor. He keeps the car very well maintained. I've got some of the best reliability of anybody out there, and my consistency shows it because I have the best mechanic. But that's my huge advantage. Of course, we're a real small operation with very little overhead. As you see, we're in an oversized 1-car garage here. We've got a motor going together in the other room that I'd be happy to show you. And it really helps a lot that he has this knowledge. I can't say that I have the same level of knowledge though.
So I gotta ask you, with the, I know motors and parts for motors is really tough, I guess, to get parts for. Now, does him doing all that, does that really help with that? You're not always constantly waiting on parts and?
Well, we're still waiting on parts,
Yeah.
waiting on some currently, but that's just how it goes. Everything that goes into these motors is custom. It's not like a crate engine where it's right off the shelf. You have to custom order everything, so there's 8-12 week lead time with pistons, with heads, things like that. But as far as, we don't have to wait on another motor builder, an assembler, or anything like that. I have a great machine shop guy just down the street in Watkins Glen, Wade Pike. He's helped us out for years. He always gets me in front of the line for any machining work that I need done, so that helps us out a lot too on the lead time issue of getting the motor together.
And another thing that I wanted to touch on is your last feature win. Can I ask you when that was?
Too long. My last one was in the super stock back in 2006. We had a plaque right there, July 2006. I've been real close in the modifieds too many times, but it just hasn't worked out.
Well,
I've been even leading and had things fall apart on me.
Well, that was something that I wanted to touch on, a small operation. And, you got to race weekly with really a small operation. You have something to really be proud of as it is. And I know that very consistent, and you've had some very good runs. And it seems like you're always right up there, and it just hasn't seemed to work out.
Yeah, we're always right there. Like I said, consistency is the main thing there with our reliability. I try to take care of the car on the track as best I can. We have to finish the race, of course. That's the primary objective. But yeah, top tens are always, when we unload every night, we say we gotta get top 10, be nice to get in the top 5. Anything beyond that, hopefully it just works itself out that we get a win at some point. But we've been right there. I got a second place the last night out at Woodhall to Brady. Brady was really strong that night. I had absolutely nothing for him. But we were a clear second best, so we're really looking forward to starting the season out with that momentum.
Yeah, I was gonna say, really, real stout comp, really all over the Northeast, but at Woodhall as well. You know, you ran through pretty much Kurt and Billy Van Pelt,
Yeah.
and you've been racing with them, and
Yeah,
really never seen it easy.
I've been really fortunate to race with some of the best modified drivers that we've ever seen. Not just at Woodhall, starting at Dundee, I came up in the modifieds racing against Steve Payne, Giltag when he was at the peak of his career. Ryan Swartout, of course, was still winning a lot of races and championships then, so competition's always been tough since day one. I come to Woodhall, I'm racing against guys that I grew up watching, like Billy and Kurt. I didn't get to race against Lyle Sherwood, unfortunately. I missed out on that by 1 or 2 years. Dylan DeWert was another big one, so that was all just, it was really cool getting to know those guys too. And we all developed a lot of respect for each other too. Don Lawson, of course Donnie Lawson now too. Yeah, a lot of big names.
Yeah, and
very fortunate.
I'd say they didn't not wanna help anybody either, from what I've.
No, and right till the end, Billy and I would always talk, and we talked every night. He would say things like, "I hope you get a win, but I'm not gonna give it to you." And that's what I wanted.
Right, I think Billy still helps out people over there.
He does, yeah, and I can reach out to him anytime, and if he's at the track, he always stops to offer a hand. Yeah.
So now I kinda wanna touch on you, what do you do for a living?
So I'm the quality manager at CAF in Elmira Heights. We're a Spanish company, railcar manufacturer, and I've been there for going on 14 years now.
Does that mean you can speak Spanish?
No, not fluently, no. I took some classes, but no.
Not total?
No.
Then what, do you, family?
No, just my mother, father, they're always at the track with me every week. My sister shows up once in a while with her husband Tom, and I have a brother too, but he's not showing up to the track too often, once in a while. But that's it, just a small family.
Well, that's really something to be proud of then with how small you guys are. Do you have, crew members that help you out?
No, not regularly. I did have one guy that came on this season, Gary Hoteling, and he ended up helping out with a few tires by the end of the season. He shows up a few nights and really helped us out. Enjoyed being there. So yeah, at the track it's mainly myself and my father, and he's in the grandstands a lot. So in between races, I'm the only one there.
Right.
Makes it tough.
So you could also use this kind of as a plea to get a couple of crew guys, cause I know there's probably some younger guys around the racetrack that might.
I'm sure there are, but the issue I have is the trust factor.
Yeah, catch some stuff.
I gotta put my own tires on. And
Okay.
I don't wanna worry about that.
So what happens if you get a flat during a feature then? You get out?
So I do have to acknowledge, I do have some sportsman guys that help me out. Connor Brown and his father Scott, of course, races hobby stocks. Them and their crew members will help me out in the hot pits, and I reciprocate that during their races too, go down there for them. But they'll bring my tires and jack and air gun down in case we need any help. But fortunately, I've very little had to rely on them to get me back out there.
Right, well, like, an operation like you're running, bringing the car home and not having a ton of work to do is probably the main objective.
Yeah, you always want to get it off the trailer the way it came on, but can't help it sometimes.
And then, what do you like to do other than race and?
I'm big into fitness. I work out a lot, running also, mountain biking. I'll try any sport really. I just like to stay active.
Yeah, I was gonna say, me and you next to each other probably isn't looking very good for me.
Nah, you're okay.
So Brian, you've been at this a long time. I gotta ask you, what's just something that kind of sticks out? Maybe a memorable moment, a favorite moment?
It's hard to really pinpoint one exact specific favorite moment, but I would have to say that's probably just the friendships and connections I've made along the way with all these racers and crew members, family members. Yeah, of course we mentioned Billy, of course, and Kurt, and a lot of other guys I looked up to that we eventually developed very good, respectful relationships with. So that's got to be the most memorable part of this whole adventure.
So, and And I guess I wanna go back a little bit too, because for some reason it just hit me, but while we were talking, and you said that you ran the trucks over at Outlaw, and you said that there were how many cars there?
Back when I started racing the trucks at Black Rock at the time, there were 18 trucks at least every night. The class really fell off years later, but at the time it was a lot of fun. Yeah, there were quite a lot of trucks back then.
So were they just like 4-cylinder trucks?
No, they were like a street stock or a pro stock, V8. Yeah.
So kind of like the old Kenny Peoples.
Yeah. Yeah, I started out when I was 16 years old in a full-size car, being that truck. I'm not like a lot of these guys that started out young in go-karts that didn't have that opportunity. Would have been nice, but I was able to get right in the truck and came pretty natural.
Yeah, some of them are even starting out in these things, or
Yeah,
great late models.
I've got an opinion on that I won't really share. I think you have to start at the bottom, earn your way up, and learn to respect your competitors is a big thing. I'm seeing a lack of that at times, but also just don't develop bad habits. There's a lot of bad habits out there, and if you work your way up through the ranks, you'll work those out.
Well, I wish I could remember who said it, but one of the worst things you can do is drive a 4-cylinder and then try to hop in one of these things. I can't.
Yeah, I've always said that the 4-cylinders, the 4-cylinder Bandit or Warrior classes, you get a lot of bad habits in that. So
Maybe it was you,
yeah.
Mikey.
I do have to mention though that Russell Morseman, he did a great job this past season. He was phenomenal. He was great to race with, very respectful. So there are exceptions for sure.
He is one that really kind of sticks out. Just his poise, I don't really know if, because I hear a lot of complaining, after races, and I don't know if I've really heard anybody say anything about him.
No.
As young as he was.
He's gotten faster through the season, and even when he wasn't so fast, he stayed in his lane. He didn't chop anybody or really pull any dirty jobs on anybody. So it was good. It was good to see that. But like I said, that's an exception. Not everybody can go from a 4-cylinder, especially the kids class, into one of these.
Right. So I guess we're about almost ready to wrap this thing up. Is there anything else that you just want people to know about you, maybe, or?
Not particularly. I think we've covered pretty much who I am as a racer and how we are as an operation here.
And then I think when I started going to the race as a fan, or at least when I really can start remembering, this car was almost blank, I would say, and then it's really kind of starting to get a little bit filled out, and I know it really takes a lot of people, so why don't you just kind of touch on some of your sponsors?
Yeah, and I've been very fortunate these last couple of years to have some great sponsors come on board. I've had John Mills Electric just now confirmed to be with me for a 3rd season, so that's great. My longtime friend John Edwards has a auto shop in the Odessa, Montour area. Easy does that automotive. He's been with me for a few years. Gary Hoteling came on to sponsor us and to also help with the track when his schedule permits this season. And he's been a long-time racer. He hasn't been in the car for probably about a decade, but he's really enjoyed being there for us and being part of it. Rooster Fish Pub in Watkins Glen on the main strip. Check them out if you're in Watkins during the summer. Great food, great live music all summer long. Watkins Glen Car Quest has always been there for me. The operation is pretty much all funded out of my own paycheck, but I've been fortunate to have these sponsors come along and support me with what they can.
Well, any little bit helps, right? Especially
any little bit
with
helps.
these things.
I'm open to getting some more sponsors on board. Hopefully something can transpire there, but yeah, I've been very fortunate to have who I have behind me.
All right, well, thank you very much, Brian. I